I want to take a few minutes to talk about Civil 3D and the BIM process. BIM stands for Building Information Modeling. It's a concept that's been around for a few years, mainly used in the architectural and the mechanical industry, but in the last few years the Civil 3D has had it incorporated into the program. This is a look at the older type data that you get from other designs such as land desktop development or programs that are being used today. They do the processing and they import the design into a 2D or 3D CAD line entities, text, etc. type environments. If you just scroll over here, you'll notice all this stuff is just nothing more than plain CAD entities. Even on your vertical over here you can see that as well. That's text and lines and polylines. So there's nothing intelligent about this, nothing really 3D about this, and you can't really change it as you click on your mouse and move around dynamically. You have to recalculate and import it back in, and sometimes you have to just fix it by hand to make it work. Here we have a Civil 3D generated surface in a site, and you can actually click on the surface and see that it's not just a polyline. You can look at properties, and when you do that you can actually see that you have different things that are assigned to that. It's not just a line, it is a live entity, and you can change a lot of things in here, your contour intervals and other things, etc., your display, your colors, and this will not even affect your layers. It's specific to that style that you've created. And if you take a little creation using your grading tools, and you quickly want to do something like a pad, and that's number one thing about the BIM process is being able to do design quickly, fast, and look at it in 3D and how it ties into your model. We're going to grade the surface, so we'll create our contours. Click on this object. Now we're going to make this an AEC object. It'll be a civil object and no longer a polyline. It's going to define our pad. And we'll go 3 or 2 to 1 slopes for now. We can always go back and change, raise, or edit this. And there's our pad. Just that quick. You can see what actually the design looks like as you build it and not have to rely on the older type system of bringing lines in. You can actually pull these around or move it around. Let's say you want to pull this in just some. You can click on your feature line, pull it in, and your surface will automatically regenerate, and it's tied into your existing. And that's a very good thing. I'll go ahead and undo that. Okay, we also have a little road alignment I put in here previously before in this drawing, and let's go ahead and see if we can try to create a corridor. I have a profile of existing ground that I create over here, and also you'll notice that once I hover over that, it's also one entity. It's not just lines and text. So we want to create a proposed profile. It says select the profile that you want. We'll call this Pro. You can do all this stuff really quick, and that's the main BIM process. That it's a good thing. We go to our profile layout tools here, and we'll just draw a tangent with curves. We'll put something in here. It defaults to probably a 200-foot vertical radius. And we can always go back and delete out our PIs or add more PIs, curves, etc. So don't have to get too fancy at the beginning. You can actually put something in here and go back and edit it later and fine-tune it. But if you're just doing this really quick up front as a design to analyze things, this is a great tool. Then we'll create a quick corridor. It asks us three things. We need to know our alignment. You can hit enter, click. You need to know also the profile. You can hit enter and select the proposed. Also, you need to know the assembly. And I'll create assembly and I'll show that to you just as soon as this processes. And we want to tie this into our target surface as the existing ground. In this case, it's USGS contours. Also created by Civil 3D in the Google import program. Okay, now we have a 3D element here as well, and again, this is not just text and lines. It's a live entity. It's real. That's the biggest thing about the BIM and Civil. All these things are real and live, and you can see right here that this curve looks awful big, and so we can quickly click on that and we can either pull it back dynamically, or we can right button and edit the geometry of it. We notice it's a 200-foot curve, so we want to make, you can click in here and make it 75, and it should automatically update. Now if it doesn't look like it's updated, you have to go to your corridor and you'll see the exclamation mark and your right button on that and rebuild, and we'll rebuild it. And there you go. Now if you want to make some contours and a surface out of this, you just go to the corridor properties and go to the tab where it says surfaces, and you can hit the left button here and it'll add the top code, because it's what we always use. Normally start with the boundaries. Click on the boundaries, right button, and automatically add, and then go down to daylight and click OK. If you've done everything right, you should have nice looking contours in here that follow along the edges and tie back into your existing. So quickly you've done some changes, an analysis of the engineering layout for preliminary purposes, or even more improvement purposes, and you've went back and revised these within just a few minutes, and that is BIM in Civil 3D in a nutshell. And you can go back here and you can click on things and you can move things around, and it will automatically update your entire model because it's all tied in together. Here's the template. That was what we used to call templates. Now they're called assemblies. These are also intelligent items. They're not just lines. If I click on the curve here, you can actually go to sub-assemblies. You can see the design criteria of this. It's 1/2 foot curve depth and height and slope, and it's a standard 1/2 foot curve width. So all those have entities, your asphalt and your tie-in. So everything is an intelligent, like live entities that are built into the program that, number one, give you quick analysis and design information where you can put it up front and look at. Number two, make quick revisions. And number three, you can also take a look at it in 3D real quick and get some idea. Now you can switch over to view, and we'll take a look at just a southeast isometric view of this, and you can look at this just in wireframe and get an idea of what this may look like. But if you have a picture that's actually associated in the same size of your topo, you can drape that over through your surface command. Once you get that draped over, you go to your views here and you can actually click down to your realistic, and it should give you somewhat of a better view of what this might look like. And again, this can be for engineering analysis. It might be used for your client to kind of look at it and say that's what he wants or she wants, etc. And or other renderings. So now we get a kind of a better look at what this may do. And there's our street, and we're pulling off an intersection coming up here, and you can kind of look at that. Again, you can take this in 3D and 3D Max or other programs, and you can do some more renderings on it and put some materials to it and actually fly-throughs, drive-throughs, cars, people, etc. Go hide that so this looks a little better, but you can see there's kind of a hillside up here, and we tied into the hillside. So there you go, to give you just in a few minutes a quick overview of what BIM, building information model, is related to civil. Again, number one, it does not use the old lines, text, and CAD drafting entities that are importing to it. It actually uses real 3D entities, objects that use design criteria, which you can quickly edit, change, and look at in 3D for an overall analyzation and or visualization whenever you have it. And that's the beauty of the BIM in Civil 3D.